Reuters just came out with a really good article explaining why recounts rarely change the results. And I think it's very important right now because I hear a lot of conservatives and liberals kind of complaining about recounts. And I don't think they really understand why this recount doesn't really matter. So I just want to go through this really quick. So recounts in general are done the same way they were counted originally. When they do a recount, they're generally not doing it by hand. They're going to send it through the same machines that was read through first and foremost. That's why you don't see big changes. Then there are cases where the machines can't determine which candidate they were selected. And in that case, a bipartisan group of elected officials review the ballots and decide whether or how it should be counted. If Trump requests a recount, authorities in Georgia would repeat that process. So it wouldn't even be Trump who gets to decide how these votes are recounted. Separately, Trump's campaign has claimed without much proof that they have found evidence of ballots being cast by dead people. This has been said 1,000 times. In 2016, Trump said 3 million illegal immigrants or illegals voted for Hillary. That's why he lost the popular vote by 3 million. He subsequently had his own committee look into it. We never heard anything because they didn't find anything. It was once again just a dog whistle for fraud claims. But these recounts will not look at that. Recounts don't look at the actual, if dead people voted or if it was an illegal immigrant. That's not what they do. They just recount the votes in the exact same way they did the first time. So this will not be addressed in a recount. I don't understand these claims of, oh, this fraud's going to be will be found in the recount, because they won't be. It's really just a waste. And they could take up weeks. Can Trump get a recount? Now, every state has their own criteria for a recount. In Pennsylvania, the votes need to be within 0.5%. Currently, Biden is ahead in Pennsylvania by 0.67. So in that case, there wouldn't be a recount. Now, Georgia and Wisconsin are closer. Georgia is also 0.5% and Georgia is 1%. And they are within that range. So Trump can demand a recount in those instances, and it looks like they could do it. Does it make a difference? More often than not in these recounts, it shifts it by 0.024%. And Biden's up by more than 0.024% in all of the races. So even if they do shift it that much, which won't be surprising because that's what it generally does, Trump still will lose. And it's not indicative of voter fraud. When they find that these votes shift by a few hundred, it doesn't mean that there's widespread voter fraud. That's just not what it means. It means that it stays to the general rule of thumb that there are incidences, very, very rare instances, where the votes do get miscounted. But it's only miscounted by a few hundred. It's not widespread. So at the end of the day, will these recounts show a bunch of voter fraud? No, they're not. They're not looking for voter fraud. They're just recounting them to make sure it's an accurate tally. And that's it. I just want to clear that up because I see so many people posting on like, oh, this recount's going to find hundreds of thousands of cases of fraud, potentially millions of cases of fraud. It doesn't work like that, and it's not. And let's remember, in 2016, when Trump lost the vote by 3 million people, or popular vote by 3 million, he himself had his own committee look into it. Because he said, that's what he said. He's like, I couldn't lose the popular vote. I won the popular vote. It was illegal immigrants or illegal casted votes. He looked into it, found nothing. And the reason why people don't really talk about this more is because he never brought it up again. After he won, but lost the popular vote, you would think that, yeah, if he found something, he would have showed you. But no, 4 years later, nothing of a peep. So I think this is going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change in the votes. If anything, we see a few hundred and that's it.